Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Money Moves. I want to start off by saying sorry for the no video last week. My job has been extremely busy, and that really cuts down on my ability to plan and record video. I will continue to make videos as best I can, but understand that my job is obviously my primary way of making money, and I need that at least here in the short term. For this episode, I'll do a quick overview of the general market trend. Then I will quickly go over each of my investing accounts, starting with Worthy Bonds, GroundFloor, Fundrise, M1 Finance, and my options portfolio on Robinhood and Tastyworks. Then of course I'll go over my monthly tracker just to show a little bit of the trends. Of course there will be some jelly at the end, which is something I enjoyed outside of the markets. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this just about every week, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future content. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So as you can see here, the S&P 500 has been in this channel for quite a while, and it still looks to be holding quite strong, even with this last little sell-off here. It's been about 5 or 6 days in a row of downward price action, but it's been really slow, and it's actually not a bigger dip than any of these previous dips, so this upward trend continues to be in the positive direction for me, and I am staying bullish. I don't expect to see a dip much lower than probably the 50 EMA here down at 44.24. So maybe another 0.5% or so of downward price action, but I don't expect this bullish price channel to break down, at least here in the short term. Moving over here to Worthy Bonds. I know I don't change anything here. I just continue to withdraw that interest and use the $6,000 as an emergency fund. But this 5% does keep up a little bit better with inflation, especially here recently. And I definitely want to keep you aware that this is still a good value, especially for emergency funds that you don't expect to move around or invest in something more risky. Moving over to GroundFloor, I continue to add money here. You can see my total value is just over $5,400, and I've made $34 on that so far, which is pretty decent for the first couple of months with this investing platform. And part of the reason this number is so low is because this platform delivers deferred notes, meaning that the entire repayment is done at the end of the term, and you don't see any of that money until the term is complete. I do want to mention here that some of my notes are in default, and you can go in here and see what they plan to do going forward. And you can see that they say demolition is complete and materials have been ordered. This was quite a while ago. Here you can see that was in February. But at some point in the future, they will repossess the property or they will pay your money back. And you can go through any of these and see the same kind of stuff. So you can see here, note was sent to the borrower that if they did not pay within 30 days, that they would proceed with foreclosure proceedings. Otherwise, so far, I haven't actually lost any money with GroundFloor, and hopefully that remains the trend going forward. Moving over here to Fundrise, you can see no major changes, just continuing to contribute my monthly investment. And if you look at the details of my goal here, they estimate I'll be at $511,000 by 2041, with a price target of $500,000 being my goal. And they also see the potential upside of somewhere around $737,000 on the upside or $413,000 on the downside, just because nothing is guaranteed, and this is where they project I could be going forward. Another thing that is pretty interesting here is they were featured in Bloomberg, and I'll probably cover that in a video sometime in the future. I haven't quite read it yet, but any publicity that Fundrise is getting is good for me as a shareholder with Fundrise. Moving over here to M1 Finance in my Retire account. Not a great performance over the past month, which the markets have been down just in the last few days, so that's going to eat into the last month's gains, especially because the market hasn't really been climbing as fast as it has in the past. Otherwise, in terms of activity, I have been adding some money here. Just a couple of buys on September the 8th, buying a little bit of Boeing 3M, as well as a couple of dividend ETFs, and some Berkshire B. Continuing over to my higher yield savings account, down just a little bit compared to my other account, which is exactly what is supposed to happen. Bunch of ETFs down just slightly, DIV being down the most here. Simon Property Group down a little bit, as well as Realty Income, but generally still doing just fine, right where I need it to be, as this is my third level of emergency savings, but I still want it to potentially grow a little bit faster than my other holdings. Moving over here to my Robinhood account, been basically flat for 3 months, which is pretty uncharacteristic as I'm up quite a bit in the last year, almost 100%. But in the past 3 months, it's been flat, almost across the board, down only $37 here. Primarily because Neo's down a little bit, Pinterest is down a little bit more than I thought it would be. Uber and Wendy's still doing fine. Chewy down a little bit here, and SLB actually has been my biggest loser. But I am pretty bullish on them because they've been staying just above this $26 range here for the past couple of months, coming in and testing it in July, and then again later here in August, and then again here in September, which signals to me that this is a pretty strong level of support going forward. Moving over to Tastyworks here, you can see I'm down a little bit here on the individual account, and that's primarily due to Boeing, which continues to tumble down to $210. Didn't expect it to go quite this low, and I still believe that Boeing is a $300 stock once we see more shipments out of their plants and a little bit more demand from China. Otherwise, everything else here is doing pretty well. Match Group rallied aggressively, which was not great for me because I did have a strangle on there because I expected the shares to be assigned somewhere around $135 per share, but it did get added to the S&P 500, which caused the stock to rally like 20 to 30 points, which caused a pretty big loss for me. Otherwise, I rolled this up and tried to take advantage of it, and I've made a little bit of that money back, but not as much as I would have wanted to. Otherwise, no issues here with my Roth IRA, continuing to make a couple $100 here over the course of this year. Moving over to my monthly tracker, you can see my stocks and trading accounts continue to trend upwards, as well as real estate. Everything else is basically flat. Lending Club continuing to trend downwards, bonds going flat, and my cash is pretty stable here, somewhere between $7,000 and $8,000, which is where I expect it to be going forward. Overall, down a little bit from month over month in terms of invested capital. And that's mostly because of cash here, because I was sitting on a little bit larger cash value as I expected to have a large purchase, but that ended up not happening. So good to go there. But overall, my total capital did go down slightly because of it. If you like any of these investment platforms, definitely use the links in the description, as it does support the channel and help me understand what kind of content you guys want to see going forward. Like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Comment down below what you think of any of these investment platforms or my portfolios going forward. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on future content. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. And with that, let's get to today's jelly. So today's jelly is the Matrix Resurrections. This is the Matrix 4, if you're familiar with this story. The Matrix was a very big thing when I was a kid, and I liked all of these movies, so I'm pretty excited to see what they do with the next few movies. Assuming that Matrix 4 does well, and then they go 4, 5, and 6. I'm not going to show this trailer because I'm sure it is going to get me copyrighted, but I will put the link in the description and could definitely go check it out and let me know what you think of it. It looked pretty sweet, definitely made a lot of questions for those of us who have been watching this series for a while. Makes me want to go back and rewatch the first 3 and see how this fits into that narrative. Otherwise, like and subscribe before you go, and have a great day.